Hey, Graffiti King here on selling exclusivity. Remember, exclusivity, the feeling of being special or the need to feel special, is in the customer. That goes along with our premise in marketing manipulation that people buy their emotions. And that is our job to communicate to them that they can have their emotions fulfilled by buying our product or service. I'll give you an example. I do own a sailboat down at a little marina, and I really like it because it's kind of shabby and it's not frou-frou, right? It's tucked away. You have to know it's there, and you drive down, and it's like going into a time warp from the 1970s. But there's not a lot of slips. I would say about 20 at the dock and about another 20 on what they call a mooring, which is a floating buoy out in the water. Now, I wanted the sailboat, and I was going to get a sailboat, and I had the sailboat. And then, as I was down there, someone told me that there's a 10-year waiting list to get a dock or a mooring. Now, that makes me feel like I'm part of something. So it's very interesting the way the psychology works. You go in and you are part of a small group of boat owners. And then when you find out how special it really is, that really, I would say, strengthens your bond with the product. Now, this particular marina has some really beat up old boats. And what I'm learning as I'm a member there is that to these people, having the dock, having the mooring, is more valuable than the actual boats, some of which are kind of junky. But they want that feeling of exclusivity. And quite frankly, I don't think people go on some of these boats, but they pay the dock fee. And it's not cheap. It's like $2,500 to, I don't know, maybe like $4,000 or $5,000 a year. And this is not a super fancy marina, but it does convey exclusivity. Now, me personally, I wanted a sailboat because I do like the experience of being able to go out there for 2 or 3 hours and really detach from the hustle and bustle of daily life. When I'm on the boat, I'm looking at people in traffic and I can enjoy that moment. But I also know that I'm part of a group of people who go out there in their sailboats and they talk their sailboat lingo and their jargon about, I mean, I don't personally care, but there's special names for things and they buy the latest gadgets and good for them. It's kind of entertaining. But that sense that when I go down there, I'm part of a special group and I know that there's an actual hard limit on access to the boating facility. Well, my $600 quarterly bill is due and I'm happy to pay it. You see how that works? So sometimes your product is actually exclusive due to shortage or limited availability, and you want to tell people that. You want to say, hey, we can't take everybody. We have a music school, and right now we're full. So I want my kids to take piano lessons. I'm sorry, we don't have any spots. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, now what happens is that the people who do have spots, they know that. And you can't be rude to parents of kids taking piano, but it kind of filters down to them that they're part of a special group, and everybody wants something. It doesn't have to cost $1 million or be flashy. Just that feeling of exclusivity. It's part of the reward for how hard we work and the things we do to get money and stay functional and healthy and all that stuff. We want that sense of, let's call it a mini accomplishment. So you do want to sell exclusivity. And remember, that emotion is in the customer first. If it applies to your product, you want to let them know. Limited supply, first come, first served. When they're gone, etc. Okay, this is Graffiti King. That's all for now. In the links under the message, you'll see one for our book, Graffiti King's Guide to Marketing Manipulation. That is our groundbreaking study on the emotional triggers that drive purchases. I wrote it because I kind of discovered it. But then when I looked around, I didn't see anyone address it in the manner that I wrote in this book. So I would say it is unique. I think a lot of people talk here and there about talking about the customer's emotions, but when you really look at advertising, whether it be campaigns, branding, or individual advertising messages, they are all targeting the emotions like exclusivity that are in the customer. So get the book. It's a good read, and I think it will open your eyes to thinking differently about your marketing. So thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.